Good morning. Welcome to Now You Know, and we have a very interesting program here today. We are standing outside the Somerset Grist Mill and the Miller's Table, and we have the president, founder, brains of the operation, all of those things, Amber Lambke, with us today. And Amber, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me. It's been a while.
So we're going to have a tour of the mill today for those of you who have never seen the inside of the building. That includes me, so I've got to get in there and see it. And so we'll take you through that. But before we do that, Amber's going to kind of give us a brief history of how this whole thing got started. And I know it started with Kneading Conference, right?
Mm-hmm,
and then kind of evolved from there. So you want to take
Sure, I'm happy to tell the story, and thanks for having me back on the show. It is a treat to get to show people what's happening inside the building. And I can open by saying that we're thankful to have just reopened our free tours of the facility. So for any of your listeners interested in coming to see this firsthand, they can check out our website, and we do have dates up now. So we're happy to be doing that. So welcome to Maine Grains and the site of the Somerset Grist Mill. We have a lot more going on here now that I'll be able to show you and talk about. But indeed, we bought this old Somerset County Jail building in 2009. And as community folks know, it went up for sale in 2007. Katie will let me know about the building. And at the time, we were building a business plan to revive the infrastructure that makes it possible to process locally grown grains in Maine. So to do that, we actually benefit from the vertical height offered by this building. You'll see it when we go inside, but we've got the 4 stories behind us to work with, to stack our equipment, send grain to the top of the facility, and gravity feed through the machines on the way down. The building also offered us a great big parking lot to be able to welcome the expanding Skowhegan Farmers Market. We've had space in the old maintenance garage to launch a cafe and feature one of Skowhegan's Maine wood heat beautiful wood-fired ovens. We have a dry goods shop where the community can come purchase our grains. Crooked Face Creamery has now joined us here on the site for their expanded cheese making operation. Amy makes award-winning Applewood smoked ricotta and Gouda style cheeses that she sells right out of her retail shop here
right now.
And we have a radio station, WXNZ, Huskow Radio, as well as Happy Knits Yarn Shop in our building. So really the jail has offered the opportunity to build out a lot of entrepreneurial efforts here, which continue to expand, and we'll talk about those.
So this all started in 2007, maybe, and it started with, it was your idea, right, for the Kneading Conference, and that was in Skowhegan. Was it at the Federated Church
Yes,
parking lot? Okay.
yes.
And that's where this all got started. How did it kind of evolve from there?
Yeah, so in 2007, put ourselves in time here. We were 2 years into our Main Street Skowhegan revitalization efforts. I was volunteering a lot of time with the farmers market to help successfully grow the farmers market. Farmers markets have rules that you need to grow or produce all of the things you sell in a farmers market. And farmers markets nationwide, we're seeing a real boom in the interest in local food and starting to scratch their heads around what to do about bakers coming to farmers markets with things like banana bread.
Yeah.
So banana bread made with white flour, grown in the Midwest, white sugar, bananas, what does that have to do with farmers markets? And yet, bakers anchor farmers markets and help make them more successful. So some farmers markets in New York City, for example, were beginning to require of their bakers that they use 15% local grains, which had bakers looking all around the Northeast saying, where do local grains come from? Here in Skowhegan, it was leading us to ask questions about our history growing grains and what was preventing us from having them here for bakers. Maine Wood Heat, Albie Barden, saw our successful efforts with the Skowhegan Farmers Market and asked if I would help him organize conversations that turned into the Kneading Conference. So the Kneading Conference attracts farmers, millers, bakers, oven builders, and everyone in between who care about local grains to have these conversations about regional grain economies we learned at that very first conference that it was largely infrastructure that was preventing us from baking bread with Maine grown wheat. So the tools and machinery that will take weed seeds out of your grain, or the tools that will crack the husky coating off of an oat so you can get to the edible part on the inside. So together with my business partner Michael Scholes, with whom I started the mill project, we got to work building a business plan that would solve those infrastructure challenges.
Oh, very nice. Hey, now, it's my understanding that Somerset County at one time, back in the 19th century, was like a breadbasket for New England.
Yes,
And
that was an energizing thing for me to learn, that in the mid-1800s, Somerset County produced 239,000 bushels of wheat in a year. It's about 60 pounds of wheat to a bushel. So that's enough to feed over 100,000 people. And we're a county of 50,000 people. So we know that it's possible, and that is, in that time, that's when they were planting and harvesting wheat by hand and horse. So we have tools to do that now, and we know that there's capacity to bring that back.
so we're going to be a breadbasket again.
We are, yes, yes.
Fantastic. Now, should we go inside and get like a tour?
Yes, let's have a tour.
Okay, we're now in the dry goods store, so you get to see some finished products, and there are a lot of products. This place is absolutely packed full with stuff, and you want to describe maybe a few of the grain and corn products? And
Sure, sure. Well, we do a lot in a small space here, and this dry goods shop is where the community can come find the full array of products that we make here at the mill, and that includes wheat flour, all-purpose flour. We make whole grain rye flour, cornmeal. We have some heritage grains that are part of a seed restoration project here in central Maine. So some rare varieties from Estonia, from Denmark, and some other varieties that have unique flavors and colors when they bake. Yeah. We make pastry flour, buckwheat, all kinds of things. And if you're not a baker and you just want to use the grains for cooking, we've got pearled barley, we've got farro that's wonderful in soups and grain salads. A couple of years ago, we started working with our grain farmers to rotate the grain crops with beans. Okay. Many people who are organically growing grains rotate with legumes because they complement each other in building healthy soils. So we launched this line of crop rotation dry beans grown by some of our same farmers and sold here. So we love showing off the shop to local folks.
Yeah, you've got some interesting products. I mean, like farro, I wasn't familiar with that.
Yep.
Spelt, and all sorts of heritage. I mean, you've got some products you don't generally see.
Yep, it's a paradise for home cooks and bakers. And right next door we have the Miller's Table Cafe and our bakery, and I'll give you a peek inside those.
Okay, let's go there. After you.
Sure, we'll go say hi to Evan, our baker,
okay,
who's baking out back today and getting dough ready for his Thursday morning bake.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Hi, Evan.
Hey.
You're on camera. This is Channel 11 News.
Okay, folks, we are behind the scenes here where things get baked. And pizza dough, all that stuff, is that what you work with back here? What are the types of things you do?
I'm doing this sourdough bread program as a pastry, and then the good crust is who does the pizza dough, which is Amber's twin sister.
Oh, that's right. By the way, I have heard about the good crust. This is a fairly new venture.
So Evan joined us in September,
yeah.
Full-time as a sourdough baker. We recruited him from California. And you can see his bakery is the back section of our kitchen here with proofing baskets and a steam-injected gas deck oven that makes those beautiful crusty loaves possible. So viewers can come find fresh bread on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. We are also out in the Skowhegan Farmers Market now with bread and pastry. We are also in the Waterville Farmers Market on Thursday afternoons. Okay. Want to say anything more about your bread? What kinds of bread do you make?
I make a country loaf, and I make a maple oat porridge. I make a toasted sesame. The list goes on. You'll have to come try it.
Okay, so great. Between the farmers markets and here at the Miller's Table, And Miller's Table, what hours are you opening?
We are open Monday through Saturday. A long day for us, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're open for lunch, 11 to 2:30. And before we leave the kitchen, I will just point out, since you mentioned the Good Crust, my twin sister Heather has launched the Good Crust, which is a pizza dough company using our flour in dough balls that she is able to make in this dough divider and rounder. We added an external freezer to the building last year in order to serve our needs, but also to serve her startup needs for freezing the dough. She is working exclusively with Maine Grains flour to make pizza dough that is distributed now throughout the Northeast and to certain breweries like Flight Deck Brewing and the Miller's Table for our restaurants. She's growing a company that employs young adults that have graduated from high school but are not yet in the workforce who might have special learning needs. Okay. She's an occupational therapist by training, so she's putting all that training to work in building a work environment that serves as a workforce training opportunity.
Sounds wonderful.
So folks,
the crust out here.
Folks can purchase the crust here. I'll show you where.
Okay.
Follow me. So this is the Miller's Table cafe space. Again, we serve lunch and dinner, dinner on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. We feature one of the beautiful Maine wood heat ovens that are made right here in Skowhegan for making wood-fired pizza. We also feature a number of craft beers from the brewers of Maine that use our grains in their beers, as well as some of the distillers. Our menu features Evan's fresh bread and sandwiches. We cook the grains into barley salads and miso noodle bowls. We have fresh homemade soups every day with our crusty bread. And if you're interested in coming to try the Good Crust, you can find the Good Crust as well as some pizza kits, cheese and sauce here for sale at the Miller's Table.
Nice. Yeah, this is very, very nice.
Saturday mornings are bustling here because the farmers market is just outside our doors, and we make wonderful quiche and other breakfast pastries that have been pretty popular. So make it a destination on a Saturday morning.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's go into the mill itself.
Great. Yeah, so Chris, this would have been the main entrance of the jail. This is where you walked in. There was a control room here, and we've been fortunate to have tenants join us in the building with their entrepreneurial ideas, including Happy Knits, which sells yarn and teaches knit classes. They occupy the space that was the former visitation rooms. Just down the hallway here, we have WXNZ Community Radio. I'll show you their studio.
Let's take a look.
The studio occupies these cell block areas, and they've been able to take advantage of the old ham radio infrastructure on top of the roof from when this was a jail.
Oh, that's right.
So we donate the space to them. It's all community volunteers that run sets on 98.1 FM, 24 hours a day, WXNZ Hooskow Radio.
Yeah. And I get a kick out of the name Hooskow. For obvious reasons.
Well, this is the Hooskow, right?
This is the Hooskow.
So right down the hallway this way, our office spaces. I'll show you where we're packing out online orders. My office is right in here. Here in this hallway is where we're servicing online orders. One of the ways Maine Grains hopes to grow eventually is by creating a building next door that we'll talk about where some of our operations can live. But this was a very busy area during COVID when so many people were ordering flour online to be delivered right to their doors. Down in this area is an area where we're doing case boxing. So right in this department, we're using these machines called Whey fill machines to take bulk quantities of flour and grains in the hopper and deposit them into retail size bags. So you can see on the Whey fill machine, Chantel has a foot pedal, and she can just, with the tap of a foot pedal, it will put exactly the amount needed in the bag into the bag automatically. Then she's folding and gluing the bag shut, applying a sticker, and then these retail bags will go out to 170 plus Hannaford locations throughout the Northeast. We sell to Whole Foods and natural food stores all throughout the Northeast region. We also sell to CSAs and other food distribution models that are helping get family flour to families all over the Northeast. When COVID hit, this was a real pinch point in the flour industry at large, even in large mills. The time it takes and the machinery that it takes to get flour from bulk quantities into retail size bags was a real pinch point.
How did COVID affect you overall in terms of sales?
Retail size bags, like you see here, were about 10% of our business going into COVID. In the thick of last spring of 2020, they became 50% of our business. So we were hiring people at our morning meeting at 8 a.m. every morning to come help us get the work of getting product into retail size bags made and shipped and delivered. Our online sales went through the roof at the same time that many of our best restaurant and brewery customers had to close.
Yeah.
So really the business just, flip-flopped for a bit.
The model changed.
Kept us very busy, but by and large was an opportunity for our business to get these products in front of many people who had never tried them before.
So people were at home looking for something to do, and they said, well, we might as well bake some things.
Well, yeah, not only were we all cooking more at home, but it turns out baking is a fun and enjoyable activity when you're homeschooling children. It's also rewarding to eat the results of your labor. And a lot of people had time to turn their attention to things that they'd wanted to learn at home, like sourdough bread baking.
Right, exactly. Okay, we'll move on.
Great, we'll take you down the hallway this way. So this would have been a hallway of cells back when it was a jail, but we now have repurposed the medical room for stickers and grain analysis, for example. We test the grain in this room for moisture and test weight. We print our lot stickers. Down this hallway is our main office, where you would find our customer service representative, accounting, sales and marketing. We've got 3 employees that work in this office. John is our facilities and maintenance manager. We are on Channel 11 Community Access TV.
Your debut on TV, John. Thank you.
Right this way.
Good way to introduce you.
So Chris, we're on the first floor of the mill here, and this is a great vantage point to be able to see why this building was helpful to us. This used to be the cafeteria of the building, but we're now on the ground floor, and all materials end up on this floor.
Okay.
We have machines over the course of 3 floors, and then again up in the attic on the 4th floor, we've got custom-built grain bins where we send the grain to gravity feed through the machines on the way down.
Okay.
This white machine you see behind me is basically a great big vacuum, a grain vacuum. So when grain comes in from the farm, we're sucking it out of the bags and totes that it comes in. We're sending the grain to the bins on the street and in the attic, and then it comes through the facility through a series of cleaning machines and processing machines to eventually end up on this floor as flour or finished product that gets bagged, weighed, stitched and palleted and ready to ship out. Most of our sales are pallet-sized quantities that are going out to bakers, brewers, and chefs and institutions throughout the Northeast. We think of our marketplace as really Maine to New York City and a little bit beyond. We do serve a little bit of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The online sales are going everywhere, but we are really focused on local sourcing, We work with about 45 different farms from the region to supply us with the wheat, oats, rye, spelt, corn, buckwheat, all the things we need for our products. And we're focused on selling within our region, within a day's drive of here.
You know, I think of all the farms that you've brought on to do this, all the distributors that you have, and the employees here, and you've really created a lot of jobs through this.
Yeah, I think one of the beauties of an infrastructure business like this is that you are supporting the farmers and the growers upstream and all the value-added producers downstream. So yes, we've had an enormous impact on the region's grain economy, right down to all the byproducts that come from the mill. So things like wheat middlings. Let me show you. When we make our all-purpose sifted flour, we're sifting out some bran from some of the stone mill flour to make a lighter texture for all-purpose baking. But these wheat middlings are in hot demand among livestock producers in the region who will hydrate these middlings and feed them to pigs or chickens. We sell the oat hulls that we crack off of the oats here in the facility. Those go to compost producers who are making potting soil mixes over in Unity, or we sell them to the Amish for horse bedding. We sell them to a mushroom company that uses them as a medium for growing mushrooms. Right down to the dust that's collected in the dust collector outside, that's flour dust. It goes to a pig farmer every Friday. So all of the products and byproducts from this infrastructure are utilized fully in what we consider to be a zero waste facility.
Yeah, and so no waste whatsoever. You're supporting a lot of jobs, and there seems to be a lot of value to your business. Do you have some sense of what this business is doing to the area economy or some dollar value? Has that any surveys been done?
We haven't surveyed that. It's hard to pinpoint, but it's certainly large. We've invested millions of dollars into this facility in equipment and infrastructure and renovations. But as you can see, as we tour the facility, we've enabled other startups and other jobs to create here on the campus with us. We support the 45 farms that we buy from, and I would say 300 core customers, but thousands of customers who buy our products. So we hope to continue to have a positive impact on the region, and the ways that we hope to grow the mill have to do with deepening our impact on not only our immediate region, but the state of Maine.
And it's my understanding with the farmers, they can't use any pesticides, or and they have to certify that they're no pesticide use, everything is going to be...
We are a certified organic facility. We also work with farmers that are willing to grow without chemicals for our process, who might not be certified organic, but with the hope that we can grow the certified organic acreage in the region. Only 0.1% of the grain being grown in this country is being grown organically. There's a shortage, and we need more farmers that want to grow organically for a very strong buying market that is demanding organic products. So that is our focus here, and we are willing to work with the farmers of Maine and the region in order to get there. Fortunately, Maine is a large state, and we have a lot of capacity, particularly in Aroostook County, where there are combines and machines to be able to do the grain growing and grain harvesting. Grains complement other crops really well in rotation, like potatoes, vegetables, and as we mentioned, dry beans and other legumes. Now you've got 45 farms that are supplying you. Are they all from Maine, or? Not all from Maine. There's still, I can't get everything I need from Maine. So I will buy some of our corn from upstate New York. There is no one in Maine yet growing pastry wheat for pastry flour, so I buy that from New York State. We've got some partners in Vermont and some just over the border in Canada, so that when we run out of the Maine supply, and we're trying to get by till the next harvest, we can stretch ourselves a bit to get there. So it really takes the region right now to supply our mill.
Well, maybe someday, if this keeps growing and growing, you'll get everything from the state.
Yes, there's more opportunity for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on.
We're going to go upstairs and I'll show you some more equipment.
Okay.
So Chris, up on this floor, this is where our stone mills are housed. We now have 2 of these wooden mills that come from Austria. There's a potential that we will buy a 3rd to be able to build capacity. But as you can see, they are traditional equipment, traditional technology, but new machines. We're making stone milled flour that's full of good nutrition and the nutritious oils and germs that are in the grain. We can sift some of those flours to remove bran and create a lighter texture for all-purpose baking. The other things that you see on this floor, you'll probably see our newest and highest tech piece of equipment, the yellow and green machine, is a color sorter. The color sorter will allow us to do a level of precision cleaning that we've never been able to do before. It will look at a stream of grain in a single stream. It will select for the color that we want, and it will use a poof of air to poof out any color that is not what we want. So it will allow us to do a highly precise job at the cleaning of weed seeds out of grain. Back in this room here, we've got oat dehulling equipment from Germany. This is the machinery that had been missing in Maine until we started the mill. So it cracks off the husky coating on an oat to get to that edible groat on the inside. The groat is then flattened or rolled to make rolled oats.
Okay. Wow. Top 3rd floor, Chris. This is the final level of machinery. Everything you see up here is for cleaning grain. So behind us in the room back here, you see traditional technology in the form of screen cleaners. These are machines that have an interchangeable set of screens for sorting grains by size. Okay. So we can scalp off, we can scalp off what's large while letting small grains drop through screens. We also have machinery back here that will remove any small stones if the combine hits the ground and picks up some rocks. This machine, through agitation and a slanted screen, will sort by gravity, and the little stones will kind of dance up to the top and off the top of the table. Okay. And then right behind me here, this little machine is called a purler. Purling machine is how we make pearled barley and pearled farro. Basically what it does is on the inside of this barrel there's a sanding barrel. So the grains drop through the sanding barrel and the bran coat is scoured, and that scouring allows the grain to take up water during the cooking and tenderizes the grain as a finished product. So the farro and the pearled barley come through this machine. Is this all that's coming directly from the silos?
Yes, so from this vantage point you can see the spouting of our 6 grain bins in the attic that are spouting down onto this floor. There's 6 outlets, and we have diverters on those outlets so that we create some flexibility. Maybe the clean grain is going to be directed to the mill hopper and we're going to make flour, but sometimes we might want to take clean grain and divert it right down to the 1st floor for bagging, because some of our bakeries actually do their own milling. Okay. We sell them a clean berry and they grind it into flour right in the bakery. Or brewery customers might take the grain and do their own grinding at the brewery. So we want to be able to create some flexibility in where we shunt the grain to different machines and processes. Okay. We have built a lot of efficiency over the last 9 years in business by creating more processes in here that we can be doing at the same time and maximizing the use of this old jail space to the best of our ability.
Hard to believe this is a jail at one time.
I know. There are some things that we hope to move to a building next door, and we'll talk about that when we get back outside.
Absolutely. Okay.
So we're on our way back outside. One of the real benefits of this location for us has been the beautiful patio dining that we've been able to create here. And certainly through COVID, people love eating outdoors right now. So we keep it beautifully landscaped in the summer, and it's a fun place to come eat outdoors. I'd love to show you the creamery right next door.
Excellent.
So right here we've got Crooked Face Creamery. This is Amy Rowbottom, who grew up on the Rowbottom farm here in the Skowhegan-Norridgewock line. She started her cheese making operation there on the farm, and we were able to create an opportunity for her here to expand her cheese making operation. She makes an award-winning Applewood smoked ricotta style cheese, as well as some aged Gouda and raclette style cheeses. She buys in cheese and butter and pastas from other local producers to be able to sell right here in her retail shop.
Fantastic.
So inside, she's got a beautiful retail shop here that is open at various points in the week, and customers can come purchase her cheeses and check out all the other yummy things she's got. The Rowbottom farm also produces beef. She sells the Maine meal frozen pasta, and she's got some great swag here that you'll see around town.
And she's got a mascot too.
This is Howie. Hi, Howie. This is Howie. Yeah, hi, Howie.
Take a look at some of the cheese products here too. This looks very nice.
Amy is beginning to wholesale around the Northeast and certainly throughout Maine, and you'll find a lot of her cheeses in some of the best restaurants in the area, including the Lost Kitchen, who will be here later to do some filming.
Okay, we're outside the Miller's table again, and thank you for the very nice tour. We got to see the operations, and we also got to see all the other businesses that are part of the Somerset Grist Mill. So now I think we'd like to talk a little bit about the future, which sounds very promising. So Amber, why don't you tell us what you've got plans for?
Sure. Well, right behind us, you'll see some shipping containers where we're storing grain right now, but a big empty parking lot. And here in Skowhegan, that used to be the site of the Kennebec Valley Inn, also known as the Medford prior to that, I believe. Yeah. And that is a hotel that had become dilapidated and was torn down by the town in order to make the space available for redevelopment. So we've purchased that land in cooperation with Skowhegan Economic Development Corporation with an ambitious vision for a large building next door that will serve a number of community needs. So not only do we hope to move some of our operations from Maine Grains over next door, things like online fulfillment and some of our administrative offices, but we also are preparing to do more value adding with our grains. We've worked closely with the University of Maine's Food Innovation Center to develop recipes with us for cooking grains that are already seasoned, that you add water, boil, and enjoy dinner.
Okay.
We also have developed some baking mixes that we'll be working on packaging in the future. So we need a space to do that, and we're eyeing the building next door for doing some of these things. This is a major area in downtown Skowhegan, and so we don't want to miss the opportunity to meet as many needs that the community has, which includes childcare and more housing and more space for the next generation of entrepreneurs that are right following behind us. Okay. So we have a very ambitious building that we've begun to outline in a concept book that is getting around town. So people can be on the lookout for some of these beautiful picture books that tell the story of what's happened so far and where we hope to go. And then we've got some tear sheets here to begin to show people the scope of what we're talking about. Okay. Main Street Skowhegan continues to do an excellent job helping to inspire entrepreneurs and build an ecosystem here that is friendly to business startups, which, as we've seen here, help to create jobs and vibrancy in the downtown. So we hope to build on that and continue to have positive impact on both Skowhegan and the state of Maine in the next phase of our development next door.
My understanding, this is going to be a pretty good sized building too. And were there going to be apartments or is it apartments or condos?
I guess I would call them condos, but some are very small format that would be akin to a tiny house size, and some are larger for folks that would want a couple bedrooms. But as we know in Skowhegan, housing is an issue, and finding housing for new employees who are moving here or the AmeriCorps volunteers that come to support our organizations has been really difficult. So we hope to at least put a dent in some of that housing need by building new spaces next door.
So this is going to be kind of an innovative center, and perhaps some of the people that are involved in that are actually going to be living there as well, and hopefully will provide a lot of creative opportunities for the future.
Yes, it will be an innovation center, and then the way I think of it is it will be a hub and shared by a lot of the entrepreneurs on this campus already and those yet to come. We aim to start a business in the next year that will take some of the services we provide through Maine Grains, things like HR, marketing, even some sales and support help, and turn that into a service network that can be more available to all of the entrepreneurs of Skowhegan. The best example I can give is that we were successful hiring a 40-hour-a-week bookkeeper and accountant in recent years. But Maine Grains needed about 20 hours a week of bookkeeping, and Amy at Crooked Face, she needed a few hours a week, and the cafe needed 5 to 10 hours a week, and the Maine Grain Alliance needed some hours a month. So
40 plus hours.
We packaged all of those hours, and we made that one full-time job. And so that is a good example of the way in which a service business could help by providing those essential services for growing businesses. So that's coming down the pike, and we hope this new building next door will be its home and kind of the centerpiece of this innovative way of supporting each other in the community.
The pictures I saw of it's like a multi-story building, maybe at least 3 or 4 stories.
Yes,
right?
Yep. You can see it right here.
Now, what type of time frame involved in this, Amber?
We were very fortunate to benefit from some early grant funding that has allowed me to accomplish the conceptual architectural drawings and also engage a development manager from the Portland area who's experienced with building out large projects like this. Brian Ang is also a lead developer with the Biddeford Mill redevelopment, some of Lewiston Auburn's housing development, as well as one of the first cooperative housing developments in Portland. So he is helping me right now to develop the capital stack and the partnerships that will make this possible. And we're beginning to speak with potential occupants already of the building in order to secure the commitments necessary to build it out.
And are you looking for other investors in the project too?
We'll certainly be looking for investors that are interested in seeing this kind of community development happen in Skowhegan. At best, we're probably 18 months to a couple of years out. If all goes well.
And you've got some of the economic development agencies around here, whether it be Skowhegan or Somerset or so forth. I'm sure they can potentially be involved in funds there.
Yes. And Skowhegan Economic Development is not only selling us the land, but have been extremely helpful and supportive in helping us on this path. So a lot of support from the community so far, and we're certainly at a stage where all of the details are not set in stone, and we welcome feedback from the community and any questions that folks have.
Do you have any sort of time horizon, though, roughly, and when you think this building may occur, or are you sure at this point?
The hope is in the next 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
Two would be ambitious and a wonderful timeline, maybe 5 if it takes longer.
Okay.
As you know, construction materials costs have gone way up through COVID, and we're hoping to see them come down.
Although I'm hearing the wood is starting to gradually come down as supply starts to ramp up. So hopefully maybe in a few months things will get a little bit better. At least I'm hoping so. Anyways. We've got enough inflation going on right now.
Yeah. Well, we certainly hope that this development project, which we are calling 24 Court Street, that is the address of the future building. So 24 Court combined with Bigelow's expansion at the mill nearby and the run of river realization in the riverfront will all be game changers for Skowhegan that we're excited about.
Absolutely. Between that building and, of course, Bigelow Brewing has bought what was Solon Manufacturing or Maine Span or whatever you want to call it. It had a lot of iterations over the years. Bought that, and they're eventually, of course, COVID probably set them back like everybody else. We're going to develop that, and That sounded like quite a project too. So there's a lot of excitement and vibrant stuff going on here in Skowhegan right now. So COVID might have set us back a little bit, but it looks as though we're moving forward. Now you've got some upcoming events. I know you're doing tours at the mill.
Yes.
You brought those back again, and you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yes. So folks can find our tour schedule at www.maingrains.com. We have a page where you can see all the dates that we're offering free tours for the community, and we encourage folks to combine that with lunch and a visit to some of the other attractions in the area, whether that be our Bernard Langley walking tour to see sculptures, or a visit to Lake George Park or New Balance shoe. But people come from far and wide to come for the tours. So check those out. We also have the Kneading Conference and Breadfair coming up. The Kneading Conference this year will take one more year to be a virtual event, but that is happening the final week of July for the entire week.
Okay.
And with your registration fee, you'll be able to watch live virtual educational classes on baking and grains throughout the entire week. If you can't tune in live, you'll have access to those videos for up to 6 months. The Breadfair, however, will be in person and back at the Skowhegan State Fairgrounds. We're very excited about that because it's an important and fun festival for folks in the region who come from the surrounding areas. So you'll be able to come see baking demos, you'll be able to get a wood-fired pizza, buy lots of loaves of bread and pastry, and bring your kids to do bread craft.
Yeah, and my understanding, well, you take up quite a bit of space up at the fairgrounds, and have all sorts of things, including cheese products, right? And maple syrup, and as I said, do you bring the oven up there and cook pizza?
We do. The mobile wood-fired oven from Maine Wood Heat will be up there cooking pizza, and there'll be vendors selling all kinds of things, cheese, hand-woven hand towels, there'll be woodworkers, and all kinds of fun things that we think fit with the theme of bread and kitchens and Maine.
When is that, July 31st?
Saturday, July 31st.
Okay.
9 a.m. There's a small parking fee, but entrance is free.
Okay, very good. And another thing that's coming up, they brought the Brew Fest back to Skowhegan on the 4th, I think, of September, and I know you play a part in that as well.
Yes, so Labor Day weekend, the Craft Brew Festival, the downtown street will be shut down, and we do play a role there. We go down with some of the Miller's Table food and bread for people to try, alongside all those good craft beers, and Maine Grains is a sponsor of a tour and a gift bag for some of our brewer participants at the Craft Brew Fest. So we couldn't be more thrilled that Main Street Skowhegan has been so successful bringing craft brewers of Maine here to Skowhegan, and especially those that are featuring locally grown grains.
If they can get Run of the River going, then we'll have it all, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And you also have one more event, right? You go to Bangor to the Cross Center. Is that in? I forget the name of that event, but it's in November.
That is a harvest festival in the fall, yes. And our grain efforts do have a presence there. We generally support the Maine Grain Alliance in going to sell bread from a lot of the different bakers from Maine to help expose people to what the local grains of Maine taste like in great bread. And it acts as a fundraiser for our educational efforts with the Maine Grain Alliance.
So a lot of things coming up. Hey, briefly, Maine Grain Alliance was started because of you, and apparently it has spawned a lot of other grain alliances across the country and Canada and other places. So I want to talk a little bit about the alliance?
Sure. So, the mill gets its start in our history starting the Kneading Conference, KNEAD, in 2007. And the successful annual Kneading Conference really grew into a year-round slate of activities to help educate and solve those pinch points in reviving regional grain economies. So here that turned into the Maine Grain Alliance and was one of the first of its kind, a nonprofit that incorporates bakers, brewers, millers, oven builders, everyone involved in a regional grain economy to have conversations and educate about what this takes. It has really inspired the formation of similar organizations all over the country and the world, and has positioned us to network with grain communities all over the world. So Richard Roberts, our Heritage Seed Restoration Director, traveled with me to Italy a few years back to the first ever conference in Bologna on heritage landrace varieties of wheat and how they impact our health. This year there's a seed conference happening in Norway, in Oslo, that we're very interested in going to. So not only does the Kneading Conference attract some of the best bakers from around the world here to Skowhegan, but we're having opportunities to network and inspire and speak to other groups that want to replicate exactly what we've done here in Skowhegan.
Yeah, well, that's fascinating. Well, can you think of anything else you'd
No,
like to
this
talk
has
about?
been a wonderful interview, Chris. Great to see you again, and
Good
it's
to
been a
see
long
you.
time since I've made an appearance on Channel 11.
Well, we'll make sure it doesn't happen first. We'll make sure it's quicker next time.
Come again, please
that's
do.
for sure. And as I mentioned to you before the show, we're trying to do road shows, I guess we call it, so people can go right on site of some of these businesses and see what really is going on. It's one thing to sit and talk back and forth, but it's a lot better to actually witness the activities that are going on in businesses, and I think this is excellent today,
Great.
so people can see it. So I would really like to thank Amber Lambke for being on our show. Before I go, I'd once again like to acknowledge Katie Willette, who is the founder of our show. Katie is up at Maple Crest Nursing Home, and I believe is doing okay. Would welcome any phone calls from people if they'd like to talk to her. And because of Katie, we have this show, and we're very fortunate. So, thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
And now you know.